What's up, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in the room. Give me a moment, if you will. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Thank you all for joining me. If it's your first time joining me, we're about to get started, and this is going to be another story time. Another story time. Hold on one second, y'all. Give me 1 minute. I'm coming on this screen. Just a moment. Just a moment. 1 second. 1 second. Come on in the room and say what's up, what's up. Let me show y'all my beautiful face. All right, y'all. Let's come in the room. Hit that like button. Hit the like button. What's up, y'all? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. I hope y'all had an excellent Sunday. Beautiful Sunday. I have had an awesome Sunday. And we about to get into another story time. Yay, yay, yay. What's up, Janae? Welcome. Go ahead and smash that like button on the way into the room. Okay, let's get into it, y'all. All right, this story time is going to be how God had to slow a sister down. My reckless 20s. Okay, if it's your first time joining me, my name is Tasha. I'm checking in with this story time video, and I do this on Sundays. What's up, GSP? I do this on Sundays until Love After Lockup comes back on, which is in March. What's up, Mr. Louisiana? Welcome to the live. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm a lifestyle channel. I do various content over here. If you love it, if you like it, go ahead and like up this video and subscribe to the channel. If y'all hear noise, okay, if y'all hear any noise, that is my reckless Rosemary baby neighbors upstairs. These kids just got home, and from the time they have gotten home, they have been stumping and bumping all over the place. Y'all know how Martin say stumping with the big dogs? That's what they got going on. So hopefully it doesn't interfere with the sound and y'all can hear me clearly. Give me a thumbs up if y'all can hear me so we can get into the video. Hopefully y'all like the music that's lightly in the background. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you can hear me, and I'm going to get started. These kids will not sit down. They will not sit down. They just got home, came in the door, and took off running. Thank you, GSP. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, y'all. So, at this point, excuse me, still trying to get over this cold. At this point in life, thank you for the thumbs up, Mr. Louisiana. I am 42 years old, and a lot of story times that I'm going to do has taken place when I was a young chick outside, city girl style. Okay, so try not to pass too much judgment. I have grown. God has been good. He has given me grace and mercy, and now I'm no longer doing that in that way. That's the old Tasha. All right, y'all. So I was 20 years old. Okay, like 19, 20 years old. I was working, holding down two jobs. I was going to college. I had my own car, and I thought I was big things popping, little things stopping. You know, I was had no major responsibilities. I was still living at home, and so I was able to just go as I please, pay my bills, do what I want to do. You know, not only that, I was going to church on Sundays. You know, church girl, raised up in it since I was 12 years old. And I was, living life. I was living life. Not only was I in church, I was halfway in church. I had a pinky toe in church, because my mom made me go. Okay. I didn't develop the relationship with God that I needed to have. Okay. Yes, the youth, the youth child. Okay. So I thought I was big and bad enough to do what I wanted to do. And one of the things that I wanted to do at that time was sex. A lot of it unmarried with some dudes that I shouldn't have been with. Okay. not only that, I had began to participate in drinking alcohol, and this was before the legal age of 21. And disclaimer for everyone that comes across this video: if you are a young adult in your 20s, I do not condone any of the things that I have done in my 20s. However, I am only here today and can make this video and look back on it with chuckles and thanks because of God's grace on my life. Okay, so that being said, things I like to participate in was the sex and the alcohol. Okay, I thought the alcohol tastes good. I like me a good old mixed cocktail, and I like me a good old, y'all can fill in the blank. Okay. So at 20 years old, right, I had a good old girlfriend, right? And so she said, "Hey, Tasha, I got my parents have a timeshare in the Bahamas, and we want to take a girls' trip to the Bahamas for a week. We're gonna go from Sunday to Sunday, and you ain't gotta pay nothing. You don't have to pay anything. My parents got it covered. Plane ticket was paid for, place to stay was paid for. All you gotta bring is spending money." I said, "Bet, bet, bet, bet. I'm there. Like, I'm there." So it started out with 4 girls, and then 2 girls ended up being added on. Okay. So because the 2 girls ended up being added on, I ended up having to pay only $80. Okay. So I paid $80. And at the time, back in the day, bullshit, right? Right. Faded. Okay. So the girl told me, okay, right, before I found the Lord too. Okay. So she said, now all you got to pay is $80. $80 to go on this trip. So I said, all right, bet. So when the 2 girls got added, we had to pay $80. So it ended up being 6 of us. So I paid the 80. This was before 9/11. Before 9/11, you could travel outside the United States and all you needed was your license and your birth certificate. Okay. So the passport was not a thing. Because I remember all I had to show them people when we got to the airport was my driver's license and my birth certificate, and that was it. And we was boarded, and we was on our way to Bahamas. At this time, I was still living in Washington D.C., so the Bahamas was only like 2-hour flight away. While we was on the flight, child, we had already let the fun begin. The drinks had started flowing. Okay, let me tell y'all something. From the time I landed in the Bahamas at 20 years old, there is no drinking age. If you are tall enough and you look old enough, they will approve you for an alcoholic drink and then some. I was the oldest one out of the group. The youngest one in the group, I think she was like 18. Okay, so 6 of us, we go to the Bahamas, we land the whole week, we funning. 2 girls out the group smoke weed. They found a local weed buyer. I don't know where they found this guy from, okay? But we kept our eyes on each other and we stayed together, okay? However, it was good times. We landed on Sunday. From Sunday to Sunday, we was drinking Bahama Mamas all over the place. Okay, we was drunken, whole mess. By the time Wednesday got there, though, Tasha had got drunk, like drunk. When I mean drunk, I was leaned over the toilet having a conversation and said, "Lord, if you get me out of this situation, I'm not going to drink no more." Of course, I was lying because I did, and I was throwing up all night. I was an inch away, I believe, from alcohol poisoning. Okay, I was living reckless. This trip was the trip that opened the door to me thinking that I was big and bad enough to do whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And God was just like, let me tell you something. I knew you before you were created in your mother's womb. I knew that you would belong to me and that you would be in my kingdom. So what you're not going to do is be up here just being reckless and living reckless, okay? I'm going to let it ride and let you make your own choices because I'm a gentleman. I'm God. I'm a gentleman. That's how I am, because I let you choose. However, you out here doing too much, okay? So we got back from the Bahamas, right? Y'all, let me tell y'all something, sidebar. When we was in the Bahamas, child, I would never forget this dude. I met a dude there. I met a dude there that was like Mr. Bahamas. Okay, this dude was buffer than buff. He had muscles on top of muscles. He was fine. And y'all know in the Black community now we double up on the words. If we say life be life, it's life. And if we say I'm sleepy, we are doubling up on the words, right? This dude was fine. However, his breath was horrible. His breath stinks. His breath stinks so bad, but I was trying to overlook it because the dude was fine, fine. Let me tell you something. I am shocked that I did not have the sex in Bahamas. And I believe if I would have had the sex in Bahamas, I would have had a Bahamian baby and it just would have been a whole mess because I was living reckless. I was doing whatever I thought I was big and bad enough to do. Okay. Yes. You know, GSP says he had to break me. I was very secular and mean girl. Yes, child. Listen. I get it. So fast forward, met the fine dude or whatever and everything. The Bahamas trip was fun. We did have a good time. Bahamas is beautiful. We went to Freeport, okay, and it was so nice. I mean, when it rained there, and we thought our day was done because it was raining. It would rain for like maybe 10 minutes. After 10 minutes after the rain had died down, the sun came out. It was beautiful, beautiful place, right? But we was over there sinning and being reckless. Now, fast forward, we came back from the Bahamas. When we came back from the Bahamas, that pact I had made with God, if he get me out of being sick from the toilet in Bahamas, I won't drink again. I quickly forgot about that. We got back to DC. I'm working, of course, with these girls and everything that I went on a trip with, and we are going about. We were around different restaurants. At the time, I was a server, so we went around to different restaurants, and we was up here, hanging out together, drinking together, doing everything that we wanted to do. And then Sunday, I'm in church, right? Just reckless, just not even no regard for my faith. Okay. So one day, one of the girls that I went on the Bahamas trip with, she says, "Hey Tasha, I got tickets to go see Jay-Z." And I was like, "Man, back in the day before Jay-Z, child, before Jay-Z is like, I think he's tied up in witchcraft and all type of stuff at this point. But before he was all tied up with Beyonce and this whole witchcraft and all that stuff that they're involved in, I was a big fan, like huge fan, like huge fan. Like, I love Jay-Z. I thought he was freaking cute. I don't care what nobody says. I say, yes, he looked like the camel on the cigarette box, but I don't care. I thought Jay-Z, he had a certain swag about him that I loved, and I thought he was cute. So I was like, yes, I'm down to go to this concert. So we had to work that night. But being 20, you just change your clothes. You got the energy of like 1,000 men, okay? And so when we got off of work, we had changed in the bathroom at work, child. I was ready. I had my clothes. I knew I was going to this concert, okay? So something happened, and I don't remember what it was. We ended up not going to the concert, and I was just like, dang, Jay Sweet. Yeah, I know, Janae. That's why I thought he was cute. Everybody was like, ugh. All my friends was like, ugh. Why? When Jay-Z had the low haircut, he wore the New York brim, the gear and stuff. I'm telling you, you gotta, I almost feel like you gotta be either from up north or something to understand what I'm saying. Like, it's a certain swag that he embodied, right? Yes, he says, used to bump that Jay-Z in my Honda Prelude. Right. So my favorite Jay-Z album was Dynasty. Child, I wore Dynasty out. I knew every single song on that CD. And it was crazy because I knew this dude that burnt me a copy of Dynasty, and he burnt it wrong though. But I was able to still listen to it, and I couldn't skip it. I had to listen to it all the way through. It's the Hard Knock Life, right? Exactly. So something ended up happening. We didn't go to the Jay-Z concert. Now I'm pissed. I'm like, dang. But that didn't stop us from still living our reckless life, right? So we went ahead and we met up with some friends at the Fridays across the street. So at the time I was working at Olive Garden. So we went and met up with some friends at the Fridays that was across the street. They throwing back the drinks and stuff like that. We get over to the Fridays, right? And so when we get to the Fridays, and I was cute, okay? I was cute. So we get over to the Fridays and the friends over there or whatever. And then at the bar, who did I see? Was this man that used to work over at Olive Garden with me. He had got fired from Olive Garden because he got mad one day and he threw a plate or something, and that's how he got fired. Now I didn't know that was the reason until after, I started dealing with him, right? And so I looked over and I saw him, and he remembered me, and we was chit-chatting or whatever, and he was already sexualizing me with his eyes and everything, and I was just like, okay, which way is this night gonna go? He cute or whatever, so let's just see. Okay, so right, the OG. So I went ahead and I started talking to him, and we decided to get out of there, right? So it was raining outside, okay? And so he said, my uncle having a get together or a party at his house. You want to go to it? I'm like, sure, why not? Because at this time, I'm just doing whatever I'm big and bad enough to do, right? So we go to his uncle's house, right? We get to the uncle door, he give me a little kiss before we go inside. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this about to turn into one of those nights. When I tell y'all, I don't even understand. God is so good. Thank God for his grace and mercy, because I cannot believe that I did not get pregnant sooner, catch some type of uncurable disease. Y'all can fill in the blanks, or anything. The way that I was spiraling at this point, this had to happen in order for me to get back on track in the way I needed to. Because if it did not happen, I believe my life would have gotten 10 times worse. Okay, so we went into his uncle's house. I didn't see no party. I was like, where's all the people? Where's the party or whatever? Didn't see no party, right? So he was just like, this is my uncle's house, blah, blah, blah. So we went ahead and back up a little bit, right? I knew this guy because me and him was sex partners. We would call each other up on the phone whenever we wanted to do something. He would call me or I would call him. We would always meet up in like a hotel or something like that. So found out the guy was like 33 years old. Okay, so I'm 20 at the time. So found out he was like 33 years old, and we would meet up and we would have the sex. He told me he had 3 kids, and I was just like, why are you telling me that? You ain't about to be my baby daddy or nothing like that. Right, uh-oh is right, because here comes the uh-oh. So fast forward, back at his uncle's house, we get in the room or whatever, and we've already been familiar with each other, so we've had the sex before, right? And so we're in the uncle's room, and we are, kissing whatever, about to get hot and heavy and everything, and I'm just like, you got a condom. I had enough sense, even in my reckless 20s, to know that condoms, I need to put one on. And so I was like, you got a condom? And he was like, no, I don't got no condom. I was like, well, I don't have one either. So we mutually agreed at the time that we was just gonna watch TV and chill. But you always know that the devil got a plan in his back pocket, because he was like, the devil was probably on his shoulder like, y'all already started, just tell him to pull out, right? And he must have been talking to him as well, because he told me that I'm gonna go ahead and just, we can have the sex, and I just pull out. And I was like, all right, I mean, okay. So we went ahead, we had the sex. First of all, let me just say this particular sex encounter with him was by far the worst, because he ended up climaxing before I did. So I didn't get my climax. And when he climaxed, he went to sleep, right? And so I'm thinking to myself, did this dude just climax and then roll over and go to sleep and did not fulfill my climax needs? Now you can fill in the blanks. We all adults here, right? So I was just like, and then I started to think to myself, wait, did he ejaculate in me? So now I'm pissed. Janae is laughing. Now I'm pissed. So I jump up out the bed. I'm like, hey, let's just call his name Anthony. I was like, Anthony, get up, get up, get up. And he's just like, what? He's sleeping, all that. After the men do their thing, most of them is just like dead. Like, ugh. So they gone. So I'm like, Anthony, get the heck up. What are you doing? Right? So he's like, what? I'm kicking the bed. I'm like, did you ejaculate in me? Did you? I'm going to get pregnant. What is wrong with you? Why would you do that? He was like, man, you ain't going to get pregnant, blah, blah, blah. He didn't deny the fact that he had ejaculated inside of me. He said that you ain't going to get pregnant, blah, 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 blah. I was super pissed. I started looking for my clothes. I think one of my earrings came out or something. And let me tell you something, Anthony's uncle. I lost my earring at his house. Okay, I lost my earring at his house and I want my freaking earring. I love those earrings, right? To this day, I want my freaking earrings. That was 20 some years ago. I don't got my earring yet. So anyway, I'm kicking the bed. I'm telling him, Anthony, get up. Why did you and I had drove to the house. So it was nothing for me to get up and go because I drove everywhere I went. Because when I was ready to go, I was ready to go. Anthony was asleep, dead to the world. I was pissed, got on my clothes, left with my one earring, and I left, right? Fast forward. So a month down the line, I was still hanging out with my friends. I was still partaking of the alcohol. I was still going to church on Sunday, being the fake Christian. And I was still just being a reckless 20-year-old, right? Fast forward, a month later, one day I was ushering. I was an usher too, y'all. It was, yeah. One day I was ushering, had on my all white. I'm standing up there. And I started to not feel good. I was just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't feel good, blah, blah, blah. I want to go sit down. So we had a basement at the church. So I went downstairs in the basement and I laid down, right? And after the service was over, my mom came and checked on me and I was like, I'm okay, but I'm just sleepy, whatever, right? Ended up eating food and everything like that. Life went on. Fast forward, I began to have this pain in the side of my stomach. I was like, what is this pain? I don't understand what this pain is. It hurts. I don't like feeling like this, right? So my mom is a nurse. My mom is an LPN nurse. So my mom comes in the room after day 2. GSP got the popcorn in the eyes, child. Is getting to it. Child, you already know. Yes. So my mom is like, are you pregnant? And I was like, child, now let me just tell y'all, my mom was a drill sergeant, okay? She didn't play that in her house. We were scared of my mom. My mom didn't play that, okay? Now, I will say this, none of us became teenage parents at all. And I'm the first one out of my siblings that got pregnant out of wedlock, okay? Because I was reckless. I was living life. I was doing what I wanted to do. That I was big and bad enough to do. So my mom was like, you ain't pregnant. She said, are you pregnant? I was like, no. She said, well, if this pain continues for another day, we're going to go to the doctor. So pain continued for another day. My mom was like, let's go to the doctor, right? I get to the doctor. The lady does a urine sample test, right? Get to the doctor. Take the urine sample test. The lady comes in the room and she's like, oh my God, you're pregnant. And I was just like, I immediately started crying. I was crying. The way I cried, you would have thought the lady told me I was about to go to Iraq and stay on the front line and be lit up with bullets. Like, I was in tears. The lady was like, it's okay. Everything's going to be all right. She was so positive, okay? I said, no, you don't understand. My mom is crazy. I said, my mom is a drill sergeant. She's going to kill me. She's going to kick me out the house. I do not want to be pregnant. And it's crazy because I was about to start. No, the day I found out I was pregnant, I was supposed to be at school. Yes. Oh my God, GSP, it was a lot to deal with, right? Now, the day I found out I was pregnant, I was starting college. I was going to the Art Institute of Washington for interior design. I was excited. I was going into a technical school. I was going into a trade. I had wanted to be an interior designer since I was in the 7th grade. So I was about to start school and I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So the lady was like, you want me to tell your mom for you? Or you want me to bring your mom in the room? And I'm looking at the lady like, do y'all have security here? Do y'all have like a police officer or somebody that could come in here? Because I just knew when I told my mom, lights out. She was going to kill me. Like, even everybody in our neighborhood was scared of my mom. My mama walked with a purpose. She was a no nonsense, and she still is no nonsense individual. She had the rest in B face. Like, when she got off of work and she was walking up the block, and if I was outside and a dude was talking to me because I was hot in the pants, okay, and they saw my mom, they would run. And I'm like, what the heck are y'all doing? Not knowing my mom was coming up behind me, and I got scared. Like, my mom struck the fear of God in her children. Let me tell you something. If them chores wasn't done and them homework wasn't done and everything, you were going to feel the wrath. And it's crazy because she did not spank us. It was just her voice and the way that she looked. She meant business. I promise you. This lady scared me. Even at 20 years old, finding out I was pregnant, I was terrified to tell my mom. So I told the lady, I said, okay, just bring my mom in here and I'll tell my mom that I'm pregnant, right? So lady comes and brings my mom in the room. My mom is sitting there and she's like this. Because I think my mom knew that I was pregnant. She's a nurse. She already had asked me, right? So my mom is there and she looking at me like, now before my mom came in the room, I saw her through the blinds when I was waiting for the P test. Because I asked the lady to test it again. I said, test it again. Because it's probably wrong. Y'all system probably jacked up. I don't know. Test it again, right? So the lady tested again and she says, yeah, you're pregnant. I said, you got to be kidding me. I can't be pregnant. I don't want to be pregnant. So my mom, I could see her through the blinds and she was on the phone with one of my aunts. I have 4 aunts. One of my aunts and my mom is very close. So I knew who she was talking to. My mom was probably out there telling her, I'm up here with Tasha and I know this little heifer is pregnant. Like, she was probably telling my aunt that, right? So my mom comes in the room. She looking at me like, go ahead and get it out because I ain't got all day. And I told my mom, I said, Mom, I am pregnant. I said, I'm so sorry. I only had the sex one time. Lying. I was so the anxiety. If anxiety was a person, it was me at that moment. I wanted to die. My mom's face was so disappointing. And this was the thing that hurt me more than anything, that I got pregnant outside of wedlock because I respected God. I respected Christ. I was still living reckless, but I had a respect for God that I knew that I should not have gotten pregnant outside of wedlock, right? And then on top of that, I disappointed my mom. So those two entities had me like, oh my God, I'll never live this down. I'll never move on from this, right? So my mom was just like, okay. She was just like, we gotta go get the prenatal vitamins. Blah. She was so blank. I would have rather she yelled. Yes, very lukewarm, GSP. Very lukewarm. I would have rather she yelled at me. The fact that she didn't say much of anything made me be like, right, Janae, lying. It was only one time. Shy was not only one time. Shy was out there. I was outside. So my mom went. She got the prenatal vitamins and everything like that. I remember we stopped and we got some Chinese food. We got to the house and my sister and brother at that time had got home from school. And I had to tell them that I was pregnant. So back up a little bit. So when I told them I was pregnant, my sister was like, well, it's not your fault. This happened, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, I willingly did it. Because when I was 18 years old, I unfortunately had got sexually assaulted by a friend of mine, right? And so all the women in my family knew about it. And my sister knew about it. So my sister was thinking it was that type of experience. But I had to let them know, no, I willingly had the sex. It wasn't like that time. I willingly had sex and got pregnant. So my sister and brother was like, oh, wow. So ended up, fast forward, now I'm pregnant. God said, I'm about to slow your behind down. Excuse me. I always say this. My daughter saved my life. My daughter saved my life because I was on a road, a reckless road that was going to lead to worse things. And God allowed me to become a mom at such a young age. Now, I gave birth to her when I was 21 and allowed me to become a mom at such a young age because I had to be stopped. I'm sorry, y'all. I have a bag full of shoes over there. Y'all know we just moved in here not too long ago. And my bag of shoes fell. It was almost like that was confirmation. I had to be stopped. Excuse me. Oh, let me get a little drink. And so God had to slow me down. And my daughter saved my life, okay? Right, I hope not. Right, ghost. So, I went and got my prenatals, and my mom was like, well, who the heck is the daddy? And I was just like, you don't know him. So his name is Anthony. You don't know him, right? And so at the time, I was really cool with a really good friend of mine. I had a male friend that I used to date when I was like 18 years old. And so my mom thought it was him. And in hindsight, I really wanted it to be him because at least he would have taken care of his responsibility. Anthony was a deadbeat or showed out to be a deadbeat, right? So right away, and I'm still getting over this cough. Y'all already know when a cold happened, the cough the last thing to go. So if it's in your ears, I'm sorry. So I called up Anthony, right? Got on the good old phone. I told Anthony, I said, hey, so I gotta talk to you about something. And he's like, what's up? And I'm telling Anthony, I am pregnant. Anthony was like, how? We ain't been together for like over a month. I said, Negro, I'm 6 weeks pregnant, okay? So you're the father. You're the only one I've been sexting on. Now, yes, I was reckless. Yes, I had other sex partners. But at this time, he was the only one. He was my go-to ping, okay? He was the only one that I was jumping on. So I knew without a doubt. I said, yes, you're the father. What the heck do you mean, right? So he was just like, so what you gonna do? And I was like, what you mean? I'm gonna have the child. Now, at this time in my life, having an abortion had not even been a topic of discussion, had not even entered into my mind. I did tell my mom, because my mom, I talked to her about it. She talked to me about it. My mom was surprisingly very understanding. She was very disappointed. Don't get it twisted. But she was very understanding in the way that she communicated with me. Because I told her, I said, I do not want this child. Excuse me. I said, I don't want this child. I want God to keep this child. And my mom was just like, well, let's pray and ask God to keep the child. But at the end of the day, God's will is going to be done. So I said, okay. Child was praying. I was like, God, please keep the baby with you. You know, I would like to just, you know, learn from this, move on with my college journey. You keep the baby. God answered and was like, no, ma'am. You have to be stopped. Because if God would have allowed me to maybe miscarry and he would have kept the baby, I would have continued to be reckless. It would not have stopped. I'm telling you now. I already know it would not have stopped. So God was like, no, you're going to freaking have this baby. Okay. So I told Anthony. Anthony said, all right. I said, I'm gonna keep the baby. He said, let's meet up. Let's talk about this or whatever. So I'm thinking, all right, well, maybe Anthony's going to be cool about this situation. So me and Anthony decided to meet up. My mom was like, I'm going. I was like, Dad, man, you always got to be in the mix of something. But at this time, I was in no position to tell my mom to butt out because of the mere fact that she was going to allow me to continue to stay in her house. And not only that, she was going to pour into me over this time period in ways that I'm so grateful and thankful for. So, Anthony, we were supposed to meet up. What happened? Anthony ghosted me and did not meet me. Okay. I called Anthony. He didn't answer the phone. I went on throughout my pregnancy. I called Anthony every single day for 9 months. He didn't answer the phone. Excuse me. He basically ghosted me. Now, when it was time to perform the sex, Anthony was always on ready, always answering his phone. But he ghosted me my whole pregnancy. It was me. God was with me. Even though I wasn't in the place where I needed to be with God, he was with me and my mom and my sister, brother, and my aunts. Excuse me. Now, I know what y'all probably thinking. Oh gosh, yeah, Anthony ghosted me and I was just pissed about it. So one day I called Anthony again. And this was after I had my daughter. I carried her to term. I delivered. My delivery was crazy. I ended up going into labor. We're going to get back to when I called Anthony. I ended up going into labor on February 28th at 9 p.m. And my water didn't break. Yeah, he was such a child. We're going to get into Anthony, what happened to him. He was such a worm. Yeah, he was horrible. So February 28th, my water didn't break, but I felt, a rumble in the jungle, okay, in my belly. So we went to the hospital. They checked me in and everything like that. I am terrified because I've never had a child. So I don't know if this is going to be painful. I had took parenting classes and they showed me the epidural needle. Epidural needle was about this big. It's huge. And it's supposed to go on your back. And if you move, you could potentially be paralyzed. I said, I don't freaking want that needle because I don't want to be a young new mom and be paralyzed on top of that. So no. So I was like, I wasn't going to have that, but I was terrified because I was in this room and across the hall from me was this girl that was having a baby and she was screaming like somebody was ripping a 50-pound baby out of her or something. And I was just like, oh my God, is it going to feel like that? So I'm walking the hallway because I'm trying to get dilated enough so I can have this baby because I was tired of being pregnant for real. My nose had spread across my face. My nose was huge. My neck had got black. My feet had got wide and my ankles were swollen. I had to get a bigger size shoe. Like everything was just going on. It was just horrible. I was just like, I'm ready to have this baby and everything. I'm over it. Okay. I didn't find out what I was having either because I wanted to be surprised. I had 2 baby showers, and we're going to get back to the delivery. I had 2 baby showers. One that my friends gave me from work. The other one my mom gave me. My daughter has 2 godmothers, 2 godfathers. So the support system for my daughter was always there, right? But at the time, I was scared because I did not know if I was going to have a good support system. So the 28th on the 29th, around February 29th, it was a leap year that year. And around 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, they sent me home because I wasn't dilated enough. I said, you got to be kidding me. So I'm going back home pregnant. And I'm just like, ugh. So I get back home, 9 a.m. And this was the best night's sleep I ever had. I don't know what was up with that. 9 a.m. I felt a rumble in the jungle was still going on. So we decided to go back to the hospital. Now, this time my mom decided to pack a lunch. I said, what are you doing? I am having to go. And she said, girl, I had 3 kids. You got time. My mom is making sandwiches, packing chips and stuff. Like we going on a freaking road trip or something. She got this big old lunch bag and she's putting all this stuff together. Now, fast forward the night before when they were taking me to the hospital, when I thought that was time, they stopped by Checkers and had got some food. We in a drive-thru and I'm up here talking about something. I might be, going into labor any minute and y'all stopping in the drive-thru. Child, right, GSP. She's a nurse, so she knew, right? So I'm freaking sitting up here like these people are ridiculous, okay? So my mom making the lunch the next day. We get to the hospital. They check me in, right? Mama said, yes, Janae, I got to eat. So they checked me in. It's at the 29th. Some of my aunts came up there. They're like wishing me well and all of that. It was a Sunday, so they were on their way to church. Your family got pizza. That is crazy. And so my aunts came up there. They wishing me well and stuff like that. So finally, The doctor came in at a certain point and they had to break my water because my daughter was up in there, chilling, very relaxed, like she is now as an adult, right? So finally, at 10 p.m. on February 29th, my daughter was born, and she was born 6 pounds, I think it was 6 pounds, 8 ounces, or something like that. She is a leap year baby. So actually, this is funny that this story time is coming right now because her birthday is next week. She will be 21 years old. I am so proud, and I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I'm trying to get emotional. Dial it back, Tasha. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. My daughter is the complete opposite of me. One of my fears when I was raising her and she was coming into her young adult time, I was like, God, please don't let her have premarital sex. Please don't let her be out here being reckless and drinking. And I just don't want her to be like me. Like, I was praying hard. I was like, please don't let her be like me. And when I tell you, Janae says, also, what day does she celebrate when it's not? She does March 1st. Now she likes to stay in February because she says she was born in February. So she does the 28th and the 1st. It's not wrong. I mean, she's turning 21, but she's technically 5 years old because it's only been 5 leap years. Now it's funny because at church today I met a girl that birthday is on the 29th. I said, oh wow, you have the same birthday as my daughter. And so this girl is turning 13. So she actually has only had 4 leap years, I think, since she's been alive. So 13 before, or 3. So leap year babies are rare, very special babies. And when my daughter was in my womb, I was always praying, God, please let her be a good child, a special child, a loving child, smart and everything, all of those great things that you want as a parent, right? And I promise you, God honored that prayer of my daughter. So Anthony, back to him. So I called after my daughter was born, and I actually got an answer. I thought it was him. I'm like, Anthony, not Anthony. It was Anthony's brother. Anthony's brother said, Anthony left his phone. Now, check this out. Anthony left his phone. He is gone to do training. Now, he was training to be a manager, I think, at Smoky Bones, the restaurant. And he left his phone. I'm thinking to myself, do you think I'm a complete idiot? I said, Anthony has 3 other kids. Why the heck would you as a parent leave your phone and go on a manager training? So that's what Anthony's brother said. So I broke it down to Anthony's brother. I said, look, I am his baby's mom, okay? I just had his child like a couple of weeks ago and everything. He needs to give me a call because we need to have a conversation. His brother was like, oh, wow, you just had his baby? We didn't even know. What's up, Trina in the building? Oh, it's okay, girl. So, I said, what? He said, I didn't even know you were pregnant. He said, I didn't even know that he had another baby out here in these streets or none of that. So Anthony's brother told me that he would let Anthony know. He said Anthony calls and checks his messages, and he would let Anthony know that I called when he called. So fast forward, that never happened. Okay, fast forward. Anthony, one day I went to Fridays. This was after I had my daughter. I went to Fridays. I saw Anthony sitting at the bar. Anthony did not look good. I said, what's going on with you? You don't look good. Because I didn't hate him. I kept wanting him to help me and take care of our daughter, right? So Anthony says, my mom died. And I said, oh my God. I said, I'm so sorry about your mom, everything. And I'm trying to give him a hug and console him and things like that. Okay. I said, but you just look bad. Maybe you need to get some rest, yada, yada, yada. Okay, fast forward again. At Fridays again, we used to light this Fridays up, y'all. So fast forward again, we go to the Fridays again. Anthony is at the bar, right? I said, wow, you look worse. You need to really, take some time to grieve and everything like that. I'm thinking that's what's going on. So A week later, after I saw Anthony, I was at work at Olive Garden, and somebody calls me on the phone. It was this dude, and even after my daughter, y'all, I was still out there talking to dudes. I wasn't drinking as much. I was coming back down because I was a mother and I had to kind of handle business, but I was still doing a little bit of recklessness, right? So this dude calls me that I was talking to, and he was just like, "Yo, did you hear?" I said, "Hear what?" He says, "Anthony died." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "No, he didn't." So he was like, "Listen, that's what I heard." Now the dude I was dealing with, he was like the news reporter of the neighborhood. Like every time something happened, he knew stuff, right? So he said, "Let me find out some more information and I'll call you back." I said, "All right, cool." So he found out some information. He called me back. He said, "Yeah, he died." So when he told me that, I got off the phone with him and I started crying hysterically immediately. Now, at the time, my daughter was 3 years old. Anthony, I had been filing child support paperwork. I had been trying to get him to do what he's supposed to do, and he has not been supportive or helping me or been in my daughter's life. He saw my daughter one time when she was 1 years old. Yeah, yeah, that's what happened to him. And so he saw my daughter once when she was 1 years old. And so I was trying to figure out, why am I crying over this daggone man that just knocked me up, got me pregnant, and left? What is it? Right. So I'm in the bathroom. Somebody coworker comes in, consoles me, and was just like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I tell her what happened and everything like that, right? So now I had to go home and I had to tell my daughter in the best way that I could where she would understand. But my daughter was very smart for her age, right? So I told her, I said, "Nina," my daughter's name is Nina. I said, "Nina, I have to tell you," I said, "your father died." And child, the way my daughter, she almost made me cry. She was like, "My daddy died," and she started crying. And she's 3 years old, and I'm just looking, and I'm like, I'm hugging her, and I'm thinking to myself, you only met this man one time. How in the world are you this emotional over hearing this news, right? Same thing I was thinking for myself. My theory is that even though he wasn't helping me, he was a deadbeat, I did not hate him, and we shared a child together. We had a soul tie together because we had slept together. So of course I was going to feel something, right? Not only that, my daughter, whether no matter if she didn't remember him, it was still her father, and she had some connection to him, of course, even in her young age. So she eventually kind of got over it, right? Yeah, natural reaction. Exactly. Exactly. So fast forward, Anthony's funeral happened. Okay. And it's still her dad, absolutely. So Anthony's funeral happened. My mom was like, "I'm going to the funeral because I want to see him." I was like, "Here she goes in the mix." She's always in the mix. So my mom went to the funeral. When my mom got to the funeral, she went up front and she introduced herself to Anthony's aunt. Anthony, yes, she does look like him. I have a picture of my daughter, me and my daughter. I hope. Let me see. Oh, shoot. Let me see. Okay, my phone. Hold on, y'all. I have a picture of me and my daughter together. Okay. I don't know if y'all can see. That's me and my daughter. She's really short. For me to be 5'8" and her father was like 5'11", she's really short. I think she got that from my grandmother though. This is another picture of me and her on my wedding day. Ooh, I don't know if y'all can see it. It's this blurry background. So that's me and her on my wedding day. Most people say that knew him, and I don't have a picture of him. So most people that knew him says that she looks like him. A lot of people say she looks like me a little bit. But I think she looks like me 100%. So fast forward, We get to the funeral. Thank you so much. We get to the funeral. My mom goes, investigative journalism that she is. She talks to his aunt. She tells his aunt, listen, my daughter is coming. She gonna come see you. My daughter is his daughter's mother, and blah blah. My mom tells the aunt the whole story. Now the aunt was from, I think, New Jersey or New York, and she came down to DC for the funeral. So excuse me, the aunt says when she gets here, tell her to see me. My mom calls me, and I had class. I was still in school. Um, thank you so much. So I was still in school, so I had class that day. So I was gonna go to the funeral, see him real quick, get out. So I got there. I went, and my mom says on the way she calls me, she says, when you get there, go to the front and see his aunt. I was like, Mom, what the heck did you do? See, my mom was going to try to connect the dots with his family for my daughter by any means necessary, right? And so my mom is the real ride or die, okay? So because when I was pregnant, my mom brought me a brand new bed. She brought my daughter a changing table. She did not kick me out. She restored me as the prodigal son is restored in the Bible, right? And so I'm very thankful for her and my cousins and my aunts. You know, I didn't buy anything for my daughter until she was 6 years old. Every weekend I was getting stuff, brand new stuff. Here, get this for Nina, this for Nina, this for Nina. Not only that, every other weekend somebody would be like, can I get Nina for the weekend? Can I watch her? One of my cousins or one of my aunts. Or I had such a strong support system that because I had told my family that I wanted to have an abortion. I was like, I don't want to keep this baby. And they was like, no, we don't believe in abortions. We will help you. And I have a large family. And all of them was saying this. And I was like, I don't believe y'all. When I go to my apartment, who's going to be there? Who's going to help me? When I say my family, hands down, when they said they were going to help me, they helped me out more than I even thought that I was even going to get from them. They're the real MVPs, right? And so I'm thankful for that. So I met up with fast forward again to the funeral. I met up with his aunt, and his aunt was just like, okay, this is his wife is here. Now I'm finding this out at the funeral, right? His aunt says, nice to meet you. Did you see that his wife is here? Yes, I had a great support system. I said, his wife? I said, he's married? Child, it gets better. Anthony was a piece of crap, okay? I'm just going to say it. Yes, he's dead and gone. Some people say you shouldn't speak of the dead and blah, 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 and all of that. But if you was a piece of crap when you was living, I'm going to tell the truth and shame the devil, okay? I said he was married. Didn't know he was married. Number one. She said, and his mom is here. Now, y'all remember earlier on in the story, I told y'all that Anthony was sitting at the bar one day at Fridays and said that his mom had died. His mom was sitting at his funeral. Death and life lies in the power of your tongue. He said his mom was dead. Then a couple of weeks later, he dies. But that's the type of man that he was. That was number two thing I found out. Number three thing I found out after Anthony had died. Now, I'm at the funeral. I found out those two things. I go and look at him in the casket and everything to pay my respect. The aunt gave me his mom's phone number to call her after the funeral, okay? And when I walked in the funeral, all these different women that Anthony was dealing with was at the funeral. Now, while he was living, he was telling all of his side chicks that I was crazy, that he wasn't the father of my child, all this other stuff, right? Because our circle as servers was tight-knit. Yep, yes. Shaking your head. Yes, it's horrible. And all of the servers knew each other from different restaurants. So word had got around that he had a baby with me, that I was telling people that's my child's father. So he was saying I was crazy. But then when he saw me, he wanted pictures of her, right? If I'm so crazy, why you want pictures of her if that's not your daughter? So fast forward, right? I said, this is crazy. All the women up in there looking at me crazy. I'm like, y'all can stop looking at me crazy. First of all, I did not want him, okay? We were sex partners that ended up turning into parents. That's what it was, okay? I don't even want him, okay? So y'all can calm down. And furthermore, he's dead. So why are y'all tripping out? So left the funeral, went on to school or whatever. I called his mom. His mom didn't answer. She called me a week later, right? She tells me to bring Nina over her house so she can see Nina, meet Nina, and stuff like that. Fine. Y'all already know who was down to ride out. My mom. Here my mom goes. I'm going. I was like, Mom. She's like, I'm going. I don't care what you say, I'm going. Okay. So my mom loads up, she rides over there with me, right? And when we get to the house, we get inside the house, and Anthony's mom is just sitting there. And when she sees Nina, she doesn't say anything. She looks at her and she said nothing. We was at this lady's house for about an hour and a half. She said nothing. 30 minutes into, before we was about to leave, out of the back room comes his sister. His sister looked just like him. I was like, oh, I know that's his sister. Sister comes out the back room. First words the mama said since we had been there was, this is such and such daughter. Now she admitted that my daughter was his daughter because I heard through the grapevine of our circle of server friends that his oldest daughter looks like my daughter. So his sister was shocked because she was like, I didn't know he had another baby, blah, blah. All they thought he had was 3 kids. Okay, fast forward from that. I was at work one day talking to a server friend, and the server friend says, wait, who's your child's father? I said, Anthony. He says, wait, hold up. He said, you had a baby by him? He said, do you know that he has 10 children? I said, 10 children? He said, yes. He said, your daughter is number 10 or 11. He says, I'm not sure, but he has more than 3 kids. I said, oh my God. He said, by 6 different women, and all of them are taking him for child support. Yes, 10. Yes, 10. All of them were taking him for child support. Now here I am. Yes, what is right? Here I am thinking, right, wow. I'm like, because my mom was just like, maybe his mom would take a DNA test so you can get something for his death, some money for him dying or whatever for Nina and stuff like that. I'm thinking the same thing. Now let's rewind. So the mom, when we left the house, Nina's birthday was about to come up. Yeah, that's why the grandma was pissed. Nina's birthday was about to come up. So I sent the mom a birthday invitation to the address. I had got the mom's address. I had got the phone number because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, maybe she didn't have a relationship with her father, but maybe she can now have a relationship with her half siblings and his sister. And his sister was like, yeah, we're going to get you with your cousins and blah, 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 and all this other stuff, right? Fine. Send the invitation to the mom house. The invitation ended up coming back to my house. So I don't know if maybe a mom gave me the wrong address or what. I called the mom. I asked the mom. Actually, I got a better picture of my daughter. Let me see if I can find it. So y'all can really see it. I forgot I could share my screen on this app. So I called the mom and I asked the mom. I said, the picture came. I mean, I was trying to ask the mom that it came back, but the phone went to voicemail. So the mom ended up changing her number, or she ended up blocking me or something. So I didn't have any more contact with the mom. So the mom is no better than her raggedy son, and maybe that's where he learned it from, was her, right? So I said, all right, cool. I said, well, I'm just going to raise my daughter the best way I know how. And I don't think I can find it. And my mom's going to help me like my mom had been helping me. And I moved on with life. Hold on, y'all. I'm about to show y'all. I can find it. My husband might have took the pictures off of here. Hold on. So Nina always wanted siblings, right? And she just, at a certain point when she was 16 years old, I said, you do have siblings, but it's on your father's side. So she wanted to find her siblings. And I was just like, unfortunately, I can't find it. Oh, this was in DC. We were in DC. He had a brain aneurysm. That's how he passed. He didn't know that he had the brain aneurysm. I think my husband deleted the photos I had on him. Ugh. So he had a brain aneurysm, but he did not know. He could have, if he found it in time and got the proper help in time, he could have survived. But it was too late. By the time he found out, that was it. And it was probably because of all the stress he was dealing with that he had caused in his life. His friend that told me he had 10 kids also revealed to me that he had different women for different things in his life. He had one woman that would buy his clothes and shoes. He had one woman that would give him, pick him up and take him places. He had one woman that had a condo or an apartment in her name for him. He had a lot of different women for different stuff. I guess I was the woman for the sex. And he probably was getting the sex from the other women too. I don't know. Because I didn't give him no money, no clothes or nothing like that. So he was basically out here pimping hoes. That's what he was doing. And in the midst of it, I ended up having a child. What I will say is that the mistake was getting with him. The mistake was not having my daughter. I'm so glad that God did not take my daughter because she's such a beautiful extension of me. Don't they call that brain aneurysms a window maker? Oh, a widow maker. I guess, yeah, yeah. Um, it's sad because if he would have taken care of himself and not been in these streets being reckless, he probably would have survived. But I'm proud, a proud mother of my beautiful daughter. She's the most beautiful extension of me. But God had to use this situation to calm me down because I was on a one-way reckless street. And if anybody comes across this video that are in their 20s that are out here funning, gunning, drinking, sexing, listen. God dealt kindly with me because of his love for me. He allowed me to just have a baby. I could have gotten AIDS. I could have gotten another disease. I could have got killed. Anything could have happened because I was being so reckless at the time. And some people are probably thinking, well, you were being young. You were just drinking. You was just sexing. You was whatever, whatever. However, having all of those different things going on has spirits that attach themselves to you that could take years and years for you to be delivered from. And it actually did take years and years for me to be delivered from those things. And so while I don't regret my daughter because children are blessings and she is a beautiful blessing, even as an adult, she's always been a calm child. I will say this, I didn't deserve my daughter. And I'm not going to get emotional. I'm trying not to get emotional. But I didn't deserve the type of child that my daughter was. For the hellish and reckless way that I was behaving, I thought that my child was going to be hell on wheels. Like I was certain. I was like, God is going to give me like Rosemary's Baby. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. But when I tell you, Nina was so calm. She was the calm in the storm of my life. Like everything was going crazy. I was a young mom. I was trying to balance school and work. While I was pregnant, I was doing so good in school. I was getting A's and B's. As soon as I had my daughter, y'all, I ended up getting like D's and C's and stuff. I got on academic probation. They kicked me out of the school. Okay. So now I'm up here thinking to myself, man, I'm just going to get a job and take care of my daughter. And so I had left the school. I pursued another school because I wanted to be an interior designer, but because I could not balance being a mother, working, and school, I left school and I just focused on working and taking care of my daughter. And so fast forward, my daughter got her second year of high school. Then I went back to college and now I have my bachelor's degree in criminal justice, right? Totally different from totally different from interior design. However, my calling, and my mom always said this, is to work with children. So now that I have my degree, I'm now pursuing to look into working in the juvenile court system because I do love children. I really, really do. And so when I say that my daughter was so calm, beautiful, and everything, she was. She was a calm teenager. Every time I went to parent teacher conferences, because I was very much you can dress up right, dress up a crime scene. Absolutely. Every time I went to parent teacher conferences, child, all they would say is that Nina is beautiful. Nina is so calm. She's so awesome. She helps me in class. I wish I had a whole classroom full of Ninas. This was from the time she was in kindergarten to the time she was in college. I just went a couple of months ago to see a play that she was in because she's in college right now for theater arts. She wants to be a singer, a songwriter, an actress. She wants to be in the theater circuit and all of that. And so I'm going to go see a play that she was cast in. My son's the same way. He's 20 now. Yes, they are so, oh, they're so precious. And so her college professors was like, "This is your mom?" She was like, "Oh my God, your daughter is awesome." I was like, this has just been going on since she was a child. She never was reckless. She never did anything crazy. And she's not perfect, right? Because kids going to do this stuff, right? I know that. But she is the opposite of me. And she is an answered prayer because that's what one of my prayers was, is that she's the opposite of me in the way that I was reckless, and she is not that. So I'm thankful for that. And everything that I say, I'm covering it under the blood because just like you all are hearing this, the enemy likes to hear little things too and likes to mess with our family and things like that. So everything I say, I'm covering it under the blood of Jesus. Okay. So she's covered. So yeah, y'all, but that's my story time, man. God had to slow my fast tail down, all the way down. And the quickest way to slow you down is to throw a baby in the wrench. That'll slow you down. Not only will it slow you down for 9 months, it will slow you down all the way because now, if you are a good mother, then your focus turns from being in a reckless lifestyle to being on your child. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful that God used my daughter to save my life. Thank you, GSP. Thank you so much. And I'm grateful and thankful for that. I do not I don't really have any regrets in life. Do I wish I would have not done some things and not been as reckless? Yes. However, everything that I've done in life was not for my benefit, but it was for me to pass down my experiences to someone else. I'm sorry to loss of father, but she has me. Absolutely. And God even, gave her two godfathers. So, and my brother is in her life. So she's had male figures throughout her life who has poured into her. But she's such a loving individual. One day I hope for her sake that she is able to meet his other children. I don't know how that's going to go. I hope that I was nervous when she was 16 and she wanted to find out because as a mother, I've always been overprotective of her. I've been like a helicopter parent, like, blah, 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 blah. Nope, no. And I was thinking that if she opened that door, that it would probably be met with hurt and pain. And as a parent, we don't want our children to go through pain or any hurt or suffering or anything like that. So maybe someday, like you said, someday when she's older, they'll meet. Absolutely. And I don't know if they're all in the DC area. I told my daughter this. I said, when you begin to date, which she has, dated a couple of guys, but nothing serious. I said, ask them who their daddy is. Because if his children are still all in the DMV can be very small at times. You might end up meeting somebody and you need to know in detail who his father is because your father was a Rolling Stone. Okay. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. Okay. So, yeah, I'm grateful for everything that I went through, this experience. I'm grateful to God that He freed me from beating myself up, because I used to beat myself up a lot for entering into this reckless relationship with her father. I used to beat myself up because I was like, I don't want my daughter to not have a father, not have an experience with him. So I used to always beat myself up. And the enemy used that to have me condemned. Even though I had repented and asked God to forgive me and was moving on from that lifestyle and everything, it kept being brought back up, and I kept being condemned. But the Bible says there's no condemnation to them that are under Christ Jesus. So I'm free. Okay. So even if the enemy comes, he said, I can relate to this a lot. Thank you, Trina. Thank you, girl. So even if the enemy comes and tries to condemn you and be like, oh, you remember how you used to drop it low, bust it wide, and pop it in and drink it on that. Hey, listen, that was who you used to be. That's not who you are today. So you don't have to sit up here and let the enemy try to play these mind games, because that's what he tries to do, right? Half my high school had kids in the 90s. Oh yeah, yeah. And it's crazy. And I think I was more feeling condemned because I was a church girl, and still am, was a church girl, and ended up getting pregnant while I was in church. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, what is the congregation going to say? And the church in the early 2000s, 90s, early 2000s is not as advanced and not as knowledgeable as the church is today. They were very judgmental, very condemning, as if their ish did not stink. So it happened. So all that to say, God had to slow me down, and this is the way that he had to do it. And you know what? I'm thankful, because I learned so much about being a mother. I learned so much about myself. I learned that no matter what pitfall or gutter you find yourself in, when you think you have did the most heinous and unimaginable thing, Jesus can dip down wherever your lowest point at and pick you up out of the gutter, out of the muck and the mire, out of whatever you think you have done that has been horrible. God is there saying, listen, I know you've done stuff. I knew you was going to do stuff, but I love you so much. I died for you, and I can reach down to whatever point you are in your life and pick you up and restore you. And that's what he has done for me. He restored me. He allowed me to go back to school. He allowed me to get my degree. He allowed me to meet my husband and get married, that I thought was not going to happen. He allowed my daughter to grow up surrounded by powerful, beautiful women and men. He allowed my daughter to love Jesus just like I do. He allowed her to be a good student, to be working, to be moving on, to not be caught up in men like I was. Like, God is able, and I'm just so thankful, right, for the experiences that I went through. Amen, amen. Yes, Jesus saved a wretch like me. Yes, absolutely. Amen. So, that's my story time, y'all. I hope that this helps somebody. Shout out to my replay watchers. Y'all go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Leave me some comments if this story resonated with you, if you went through a similar experience, or if you have a story of condemnation that you feel like is too rough that God will never forgive you from. I'm telling you now, whatever it is, God will pick you up from it. There is nothing. Child, and this is just one story. I have done some stuff that I'm going to reveal these story times I am, but baby, thank you for the hearts, Trina. Baby, I have done some stuff that if God allowed the door to be flung open in front of everybody, y'all probably would get off this live and be like, oh, she tripping out. Oh, she tripping out. I have done some stuff that I am deeply ashamed of, right? However, if God doesn't condemn me and if God forgives me, then who is man to throw the stones? So, that's the way I look at it. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to get off of here. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for rocking out with me. I'm doing this on Sundays until Love After Lockup come on, which it comes back on in March, which just around the corner. And so once it comes back on, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to start doing that review again. However, I am going to sneak in the story times, but it might not be on Sundays because that's my review day for Love After Lockup. So I may tell the story times on Saturday instead. But I thought Sundays was a great calming way to get out some story times and stuff and fill in the gaps. On Monday, y'all know I do motivational short. If y'all need some motivation and encouragement for your week, go ahead and check out the shorts on Monday that I drop. I always ask God, what word do you want me to give to the people? And God always answers and gives me a right on time message of motivation for y'all. My 600-pound life, is it gone off? Because the last one I saw was Juan's story. And I'm thinking to myself, I thought my 600-pound life has more than like 6 episodes because I'm reviewing that show as well. But I have not seen a new episode. So I'm thinking they're done with the episodes. So if that's the case, then I'm done reviewing that show. Y'all can give me replay watchers and live watchers. Give me any show that you feel that you want me to watch and that you want me to review, and I will add it to my roster. I also do hot topics. I do those on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. If you would like to join me for the hot topics, you can go on my page and watch previous hot topics that I've done. I did one just recently last week, and I will be doing one this week. There are some hot topics that dropped after I did them. Rest in peace goes to Biggie Smalls' mom. His mom died the other day, and I was like, whoa, and she was 72. So I'm gonna talk about that in one of my hot topics. I talked about that girl kids that was left in that froze to death. Child, some new information came out about her that has me side-eyeing the mess out of her now. I was burning up her child's father, right? But now this video has surfaced with her up here twerking after the children's funeral, dancing with her cousins and stuff, twerking. Doesn't look like she was distraught or anything. Child, 2 of my kids could not have froze to death. And you mean to tell me I'm gonna be out here twerking? No, I'm gonna need time because it's gonna be a grieving process. So I'm gonna talk about that this week along with some other things. Hair was done and everything, Trina, girl. She did not. And now I'm thinking something ain't right. And now I'm thinking, was I too hard on the dad? Because I played the video of what the dad had said on here, and I'm thinking to myself, you got your locks retwisted. You got a gym membership. Look like you got 2 coats on and stuff, and you sitting up here meaning to tell me you didn't know your children's living situation. However, I still feel like the dad is at fault because if you was an active parent in them children's lives, then you would have known that something wasn't right with her and their living situation. But something about this whole thing is fishy because ain't no way you could tell me they both, girl Trina, say it again for the people in the back. They both ain't ish. They both is full of it. And now I think she has the 1 child left because the 2 that passed was 9 and 2 years old. Girl, ain't no way I could be up here partying. I wouldn't even want to be at a repast. Child, I would be under the bed if 2 of my children had froze to death. And I know that it was by my own doing. See, I'm the type of mother back in the day that I used to get it. Girl, I was working 2 jobs at a time. My daughter stayed fresh, clean, roof over her head. It was sometimes that I didn't even eat, but I made sure she ate. It was times when my refrigerator only had breakfast food in it. And I asked my daughter, I said, hey, you want to play IHOP? And she was like, yeah, we're going to have breakfast for dinner. I said, yes, not knowing that that's the only food that I had until 2 days until I got some money. But I did what I had to do as a mom. Girl, get out of here. You up here. Child, exactly. If he was in touch with babies, he would have known. Absolutely. That was too sad for me to watch. Yeah, it's just sad. And I'm just like, yo, something ain't right though. Something is not right. And we done with the story time. We just talking, right? But something ain't right about the story because it burned me up because as moms, our children always come first. If we don't eat, they don't even know. I made sure my daughter was taken care of. Child, even when she was in high school, She would tell me she needed money for a trip or something the next day. I would get on Uber. I would be on Uber all night long until I got the money I needed. And when she woke up the next morning, on the counter was the money she needed for her trip. I hustled and made sure that she had what she needed. And that's what you do. Child, I mean, listen, girl, you and me both, GSP. It ain't gonna kill me. I drink some water and keep it popping. But as a parent, you put your children first. You do what you gotta do in order to make sure that they're good. Something ain't right about this story, man. Because at first, when I saw her video and the way she was crying, my heart went out to her as a single mother, right? Because I know the struggle. I've been there and to some other places, right? So I knew how she felt. But after the twerking video came out, her bob wig all on, she looked a totally different person. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, did she put all this out there trying to garner sympathy from people and get money from people? Because I also heard she had a GoFundMe. So I don't know if that's the case, if that's what went on. Now I'm thinking, did she not tell the father what was really going on and not contact his family? But again, like Trina said, he ain't ish either, because he should have been in his children's life to know what was going on. Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it? And it's jacked up because you be wanting to help people. You do want to help people out here. Like when I see homeless people, I give them some money or whatever. I don't know what they're going to do with it. That's not on me. My job is to sow into the poor, help the poor if I can help. If a person comes to me and say, "Hey, you got $2," and I got $2 in my purse, and then I say, "No, I ain't got $2," that's making me a liar. So I don't want to be no liar. So if I got the $2, I give it to him. Well, it's not going to hurt me. It's $2. I'm at a point in my life where $2 is not going to make or break me. Okay. So sometimes denial can manifest in very strange ways. Absolutely. I don't think she's accepted it. Yeah, some people are saying that she's grieving in her own way and she just hasn't really accepted it and all of this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I get that too, because I can't tell anybody how to grieve. But I do know one thing. I wouldn't be twerking. I would not be twerking on a video. I mean, people grieve in their own ways, but twerking? Something ain't right. Something is not right. And I hope, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. Because my mind will go to dark places and I don't want to go there. But I'm hoping that, yeah, I ain't even going to say it. So, but anyway, y'all, yeah, we're going to talk about some things coming Wednesday on Hot Topics at 6 p.m. And we're going to, girl, you saw the video of the dad. He did not seem interested. He seemed like he had better things to do. And then how about the news going to say they were there talking with the dad and as he wiped tears from his eyes? I said, what tears? He didn't even look like he was emotional. He was choked up or anything. If anything, the mother gave an Academy Award winning performance if we was going to believe anybody, because she had me fooled. Child, the kids upstairs in my apartment building, I don't know what's wrong with these kids. I think maybe they might be a little slow, but they run all the time. They run. Soon as they hit the door, they start running. I had went up there and I had talked. Y'all, it's so funny. I did a TikTok video. I did a TikTok video where I went upstairs and I left my phone on because I went upstairs. Rosemary's, but I'm telling you, I went upstairs, I left my phone on, and you can see me walking upstairs and everything. If y'all don't follow me on TikTok, I'm gonna put my TikTok in the chat. If y'all want to go check the video out. Stilettos, pumps in the club. Y'all remember that song? Oh my gosh. So I did a video and I walked upstairs and I knocked on the door and I confronted the lady. I said, hey, your kids are running all the time. Is there a way that you can have them kind of sit down a little bit? They're running so hard that my TV is shaking, like it's about to fall. So can you please just, kind of control that? She says, my bad. Okay, cool. I thought we had a neighborly understanding. Child, they only calmed down Right, get some slippers or something. They calm down a little bit. They are still running, running, running. And you can imagine, like on Sundays, you trying to kind of wind down and chill. Maybe do some cooking, sip some wine or something like that, vibe out, listen to some music. Sunday is just for woo sign. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to have all this noise and stuff going on. And for the most part, my neighborhood is very, very quiet. However, these kids upstairs, so the video I did on TikTok, I didn't know it was going to get that much traction. Child, that video got 33 33,400 views, something like that. And I don't know what your video need to have to go viral. I don't think it's went viral. I think it has to have in the millions to go viral or something. But baby, when I tell you people was sending comments left and right, somebody asked for an update. I did an update video, yeah, and I don't know if they've seen it because I didn't know it was going to get that many people to watch. Said, oh no, I didn't know because I only have like 800 some followers on TikTok. Like, I'm not like huge. But before I dropped that video, I only had 600 something followers. After I dropped that video, people was just following left and right. And I'm like, people love drama. They thought I was going to slap the girl. So, yeah, y'all gotta check that out. I didn't know it was going to get that much traction. I didn't plan on it. It just kind of happened. But the craziest thing is the stuff that you don't think is going to get that much traction is the thing that gets traction. But I already talked to her. I already spoke to her about it. Child, how about the girl at the rental office? The rental office girl saw the video. One of the girls at the rental office saw the video and she said, oh my God, it's your neighbor. Yeah, they have carpet. And so I went to the rental office one day. I was going to go work out. And she was like, because we got a gym over there. And she was like, oh my God, is your neighbor still running and everything? I'm like, girl, who told you? Girl, she done seen the video, right? So she's just like, I'm like, yeah, well, they're still, right. The rental office. So I say, yes, they are still up there running amok. So she says, well, who? She said, who is it that lives above you? I said, child, I don't know, okay? I didn't get to know no neighbors or nothing like that. I ain't baking no muffins and be like, hey, I'm new in the neighborhood type thing. I don't know the girl name. Y'all should know, right? Right? It's going to make it on TMZ, I'm telling you. So the daggone, she said, I'm going to reach out to the girl. Child, this went into a whole nother story time. She said, I'm going to reach out to the girl. And I'm going to talk to her and see if she can calm down. So I don't know if she reached out to the girl yet to tell her to calm down. However, we shall see. But it don't seem like it. And I told the lady at the rental office, I said, I know kids are going to be kids, right? I know they're not going to be quiet and sit down all the time. But if y'all hear the level of noise, it is wild. It's extreme. It's not like they just walking a little bit and somebody jumps and then stops and then you don't hear nothing else. No, they are running for hours. Like right now. I mean, y'all can't hear it now probably because of the music and stuff like that. But since I've gotten on here, they've been running. And I've been on here for an hour and some minutes. They've been running this whole time. This whole time. And I think the parents up there just tend to tune them out. But my thing is, be parents. Like, parenting these days are so reckless. Like the girl that left her kids freezing in the car. The dude that act like he didn't care is the dad. These people up here act like they don't hear them kids running. Back in the day, let me and my sister, my brother, been running around the house. My mom would have peeped her head around the corner. She just would have looked, and we would have been like, we would have calmed down, right? Used to have a neighbor in the condo whose kids would do somersaults. I'm telling you, it's like they get on the couch and jump onto the floor. That's how it sounds. So, I don't know, y'all. I'll let y'all know how that story time turns out. Oh, yeah. And I got another story time that I am going to drop on my TikTok. I'm probably going to drop it on here too. But y'all, something recently just happened to me and it is wild. But I'm going to end it because I don't want to get to another story time. But baby, my life is a story time. But it be stuff to be happening. Some of the stuff be funny. I got a story time. I got robbed in NYC one time. I'm gonna tell that story time. Child, oh my God. I drove to NYC, got robbed. Child, my first time in New York, got robbed. Um, I got a story time of when I picked up this transvestite Asian lady or dude. It was a dude, but he was dressed up as a lady, and he was using me as an Uber to go around to his different John's houses. He would tell me, okay, you wait right here for a minute. Then he would go in for like 5, 10 minutes or whatever, then come out, get on the phone in the back. He'd be talking like a dude to me, but when he got on the phone, he was like, hello. Yes, I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, what have I turned into an escort service, taxi service? Like, yeah. And this was in DC when that happened. Yeah, the story times I have, y'all gonna be like, this is unreal. Child, oh my gosh, I got in a fight with a dude once. I got in a fight in high school with this dude one time, child. But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get off here because I got so many story times. It's unreal. I remember one time, this is the last one. I was having sex one time, and the condom got lost, and it was lost inside of me for like a whole day. A whole day. I didn't even know. I'm like, God, your mercy and grace, child. What if I got pregnant off of that condom? Because he had done his business in the condom, but it was in there swimming around for like a whole day, and I didn't even know. I had used the bathroom and everything, child. And that happened to a lady. It happened to a lady on the news. She ended up having to go to the emergency room because she didn't know a condom was stuck inside of her, and it had ended up corroding and got infected and stuff. They had to do surgery, child. And when that story here broke and came out, and this story happened a while ago, I thought about my experience, and I was like, "Ooh, God protected me from a lot of stuff, y'all." I was rough. I can laugh, right, Trina? I can laugh about it now. But baby, at the time, child, me and that dude was looking all over his daggone basement because we was in the basement being a little hot in the pants, right? We looking, could not find the daggone thing. Child, the thing didn't fall out until it stayed in me for a day. The next morning, when I used the bathroom, in the toilet, blue condom falls out. I said, oh my God. Child. Oh gosh. Oh God. Y'all, I have had some stuff happen to me. Y'all would not believe it. But I'm gonna tell more story time stuff. But thank y'all for joining me. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for joining me. Until we meet again, I would definitely see y'all again. Go ahead, like this video up and subscribe. I love y'all so much. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.